Well, there's been a lot of talk recently about should I play a 46 or should I play a set pitching wedge, and today we are going to test it. We are joined by Captain Ballspeed here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of WGC Fits, where we're going to tackle this question. Okay. So, where's this whole thing start, Mr. Ian?
I was looking at some what's in the bags and noticed that a few guys have put a wedge instead of the set wedge in as their pitching wedge.
Yep. Now, who are these guys?
With Justin Thomas, Max Homa, and I think 2 or 3 other guys.
Yep. So we're talking some of the best, right? Yep. Now, what I can tell you is from these guys specifically are all using Vokey wedges, I do believe.
I think.
The only person I'm not sure about is Homa.
Yeah.
And again, I know at one point he was using Vokeys.
Yeah.
So what I can tell you in terms of, let's say the reason why, Vokey would say that there's a lot of tour players using these are the amount of types of shots that these players are playing with their quote-unquote pitching wedge is far different than, let's say, the average golfer.
Yeah.
Right? It's more of a touch and a feel game because often these guys are, hitting their wedge anywhere from 160 to 105 yards, depending on the kind of situation that's called for. So one of the things that's really beneficial and nice is they're able to perform more of that feely, touchy kind of shot with the 46. The other thing that they would say is that this gives the player of that caliber a little bit more confidence to be able to hit those shots simply because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
Right? And they were actually very, very particular about wanting the club to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So that is why a lot of your tour players do it, right? Because it allows the tour player to play those levels of shots. Now, the success factor from being able to do that simply comes from being able to hit the middle of the club face. And we're not talking about having a couple of millimeters of variance here. We're talking about pretty much dead.
The middle of the club face.
Yeah, there's no variance, You look at some of these guys' clubs and you're going to see wear patterns on their wedge that's smaller than your thumbprint, right? And it's in the middle of the club face because they don't ever miss that. So it starts off there. But let's kind of go through. Let's have Ian hit a couple of shots here. And maybe what we do here, Ian, is instead of just hitting a couple of shots, right, let's go 2 or 3 like stock ones.
Okay.
But then let's also
2 or 3 feely ones?
Yeah, let's play some feely shots, right?
Okay.
So what's a stock pitching wedge for you?
150.
Okay.
Well, 145 to 150. With this, I have no idea.
All right, well, let's go for that. Let's go for 145 to 150, but then let's, hit
a 135 to 130 shot.
Yeah, like something soft like that. Play with trajectories a little bit, right? And just see what that feels like for you, who's a very good, accomplished amateur golfer, right?
We try.
Hit a couple shots, let's see.
Okay.
Now, should say for the purpose of this test, we're hitting a SM10 46, and what pitching wedge did we get?
T100.
T100 pitching wedge. So definitely something that you'd see some of these players that we're talking about blend out there on tour.
Yeah, let me not knife it.
Yeah, that wasn't the best start, but
well, this shaft's a little whippy. There we go. That was about my distance.
Mm-hmm. And for all intents and purposes, it wasn't too bad,
That spin rate's good.
Mm-hmm.
Feels way softer than my pitching.
Well, again, shaft a little off there, but
ooh,
for the purposes of the test, it'll do.
That felt so nice.
Mm-hmm.
How far did that go? Farther?
Maybe not too much. No, shorter actually. No, it did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what it felt like.
Oh, you went 147. I read that first one as 157. Yeah. I was like, hold on. Okay, yeah. So 155. Yep, that's pretty good.
That feels so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
one more. Perfect. One more. Okay.
One more full.
You didn't like the knife one?
I'm going to take out the knife one for the purposes of. So I think it's safe to say you definitely centered 2 of those really well, right?
Yeah. I'd say the first one, well, minus the knife one, was.
Well, yeah, not talking
the
about
shaft
the knife.
a little bit. That one didn't get spin rate, but whatever. Just put it on a normal.
Normal, yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's have.
What do you want?
You now hit like a 130 pitching wedge.
Ooh.
And try to like flight it a little bit lower. So you're going into the wind. This is a shot that you're going to see a lot that these guys do.
I mean, that's low.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little farther than 130. I think.
Yeah, 135.
134.
Yeah. So drop it off a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking a power guy to not swing hard.
Well, you know. It's either this or you got to shoot a phone call out to Justin Thomas, you know. I think he's busy this week.
Yeah, a little bit. He's taken up right now. He's playing out.
All right, that right there is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Let's try another kind of interesting shot here.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you're going to hit a little pitchy chippy thing that's out around, like, let's say 60, 70 yards. This is one where you're just trying to keep it low, let it run a little bit.
That's got to be 60.
That looks pretty close to me.
Oh!
Yeah, that was pretty good. Okay, so it's allowing you to play some of these shots that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the first ones that I want to look at are these first three.
Yeah.
So we're going to ignore that for now. And all we're going to do is we're going to look at variance of strike on those three shots. Not too bad.
Towards the heel.
A little bit inside, though, right?
That's where I
and
like to
honestly, again, kind of your better players miss right there.
Yeah.
Not too bad. And I would say, all in all, performance, pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you had your pitching wedge in and you hit that first shot that kind of leaked out to the right on you a little bit, how much is that upsetting you when you're playing on the course?
That one, a little bit if I'm aiming towards the tuck pin, but
Now let's talk about like realistic windows here, right? Because this obviously says that you're approximately 10 yards offline, off
yeah,
center.
that's a little too much.
I would tell you, you hit this shot, it's going to spin maybe a touch more, and what's probably going to happen is you're going to hit the green, and what's going to happen?
A little spin.
It's going to spin, and it's probably going to spin to the right a little bit. Given
Just a smidge.
Kind of what's
I
going
don't
on
spin
there.
the ball that much.
No, but when we're talking about precision, stuff, pitching.
It'll spin back
this is
maybe
where we
3 to
want.
6 feet.
Yeah. And probably off. Do you ever feel like you create side spin enough to kind of get it to go a little right or left? No? Okay. Let's put you now on like a PGA Tour course.
Yeah.
You probably would see that a little bit.
Little bit, probably.
Because again, it's green conditions that cause spin. So this type of shot, success rate, let's say 2 out of 3, not too bad. 4, very good amateur golfer.
Yeah.
Hit a couple shots now with the T100.
Same degree. Is it the same length?
They
I would
should be
assume so.
relatively close, if not the same.
Yeah, they're the same.
Because I know with Titleist, they do take into account these wedges.
Already looks more forgiving.
Way more forgiving. Now, same thing. We're going to start off with 3 just, let's say, foolish shots.
I would take all of that every day.
Not many people wouldn't.
Still feels good. I bet you I healed it.
A little spinny. But
That's also an
pretty good for
AMTS
yardage.
300.
Pretty good yardage here.
You give me my pitching wedge, it'll spin less.
No, really will. Again, we're testing these clubs here. We're not saying, for you specifically.
What, right over the other one?
Pretty close, actually.
I'd hold it.
That should still be relatively consistent, though. Yep, right there. Very good. Do one more.
Ooh, that one was a miss.
How bad do you feel like you missed that?
Man,
Not the worst?
not the worst.
Look at that.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? That couldn't have played out better. Before you hit anything, let's just compare these real quick.
Oh.
We have,
We can say the shaft is a
46.
little spinny on this T100.
it is, no, 100%, right? I mean, it's easy to see. But 46, then the Vokey, or the T100. Let's compare impact locations. T100, slightly inside. Vokey, slightly
more
inside.
inside.
Right? So we're not talking about tons of variance in actual strike there. What we are talking about is your miss basically wasn't a miss when you were hitting that one.
Yeah.
Where it definitely would have cost us a little bit more if we were hitting the 46.
Correct.
And again, this is with a very accomplished, someone who's not going to miss the center club face
That
very often. That's why you do this.
Yeah.
So pretty good. Now try to work a couple for us.
What do you want?
Same things. Let's go, a couple around that like 130, 135 mark.
Can I try to hit that
and then
deer?
let's hit that kind of low pitchy chippy one a few times.
Should I try to hit that deer out there?
It's probably a bit far for pitching wedge, no, Ian?
You said 130?
Yep.
Oh, Ian. Give me one more.
Well, you get a few.
I don't know, it's probably 130. I just almost shanked it.
A little shy. Not bad. Like that does probably come up short.
There we go. This is a little more spinny than the other golf club.
That was a good one.
That was right at 130.
Yep. Now, do one more and then hit a couple of the little 60, 70 yarder low and runny ones.
That was the best one. A little too far.
Yep. But again,
Yeah,
what I would
133 I'll
expect to see, right? Low, pitchy, chippy one. 60, 70.
Oh, 65. Oh, 62. This 62 is fine.
But
That's
that's going to release a good bit.
That felt better on that 60 shot than this one.
Well, I think that the 46 potentially performed better in two instances. But we'll talk about that here in a sec.
That felt way better. Didn't get it?
Didn't get it. No,
Okay.
I did get it. 61. That was better.
There you go.
Still releases a bit. So we compared the full ones. Let's now look at that middle one, the 130. Okay?
Okay.
So 130 yards, arguably pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Again, let's pay attention to what our strike patterns were looking like. So this is where the Vokey started to get a little bit more solid. And I want to look at, okay, so you were at like 8,100 spin.
Yeah.
And 60 peak height.
Yeah.
And average carry of 130, exactly what we asked for. So 74, good strike again, little bit shy. Oh, actually, we'll call you. So that's actually pretty comparable, I would say here.
Yeah, just
right.
went higher.
Now it did go higher. That's the key thing, right? We were trying to play a lower, kind of pitchier one, right?
Yeah.
And definitely seemed like the T100 climbed a bit more on you.
Yeah.
Now it did spin a touch more, but we're not going to sit there and say an S200 and S300 are drastically different in the purposes of this. What we're seeing is a little bit of the tech in the head kind of coming into play a little bit for you.
Yeah.
Just in terms of, let's say competition-like circumstances, if you had to hit a knockdown pitching wedge, which one do you think you'd want to kind of look more over and hit more in this
Probably
kind of
this one.
instance? That one?
Yeah.
And why is that?
More forgiving.
Felt like it was a little bit more forgiving, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting question. Performance-wise, you probably almost, and there's an argument to be made that says you probably almost executed that shot better with the 46.
I agree.
But do you think that that's repeatable over, let's say,
No.
100 shots? That's exactly it, right? There's going to be, we all know this, how this works.
I know where the hosel is.
There's going to be some instance of mess up there, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's look at, let's look at the little pitchy chippy shot, right?
Yeah.
So, first one, it kind of one and done, right? I mean, you hit it, it was pretty much perfect. 5,600 spin. We're launching, what are we looking at here? For all intents and
27.
purposes, no, landing angle. Your launch angle is 20, so I'm not mad at that.
Oh,
57 out to, let's say 73, but again, that would actually stop much quicker. So again, carry 50, really good. With the pitching wedge, launched a bit higher, so kind of a similar MO, a little bit higher, but you actually did pretty well there.
Yeah.
Now, you did definitely strike the other one, I would say, in a little bit of a better spot.
Yeah.
Because once you get into these pitchy, chippy ones, you are going to get out more towards the toe just a touch. What do you think about this one, right? This one you said you think the 46 actually felt a little better.
Yeah, it felt way better.
Right? Now, which one do you think you executed better on the course, though? Similar ideas, right? Probably the T100.
Probably.
Hard to say, but again, I would argue the T100 really good. Given if it gives us the edge in the other two, this is one where I'd say, okay, give me that as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, here's a caveat I have for you, because I also noticed a few players that went the other way and got rid of the 46. One of them, I think, was Sam Burns, because they looked into his stats and how he was hitting the 46 versus a set pitching wedge, which is cavity back, more for he'd be hitting it like 1 or 2 yards closer on average.
Yeah.
Which for them is money.
100%. And here's the thing, right? For the players who aren't going to sit there and want to or try to manipulate, right? If that's not your game, this isn't a conversation you're even thinking about having.
Yeah.
Right? And those players don't just exist in the amateur world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of professional golfers who sit there and say, okay, when I get inside of 50 yards, I'm basically going to let the club do all the work. I'm going to keep everything really square, and I'm just going to try to execute good golf movements.
Yeah.
Right?
Like with you and I, with my Wilson clubs, I almost went with a set gap wedge.
Yeah, and I think that'd be beneficial. If in my iron set there was a set gap wedge, there's a good chance I'd have one.
Yeah.
Because it's just a full shot club for me.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm not doing anything really creative or really specific, nor do I find where I play I need to do anything that's that creative or that specific with that club, and I don't want to trade away the benefit of that set wedge that I can have in the full shot. Right?
Agreed.
Again, you have to look at two windows. Either the guy who wants to be the super feely guy, and in that case, sure, this could be something that's going to potentially allow you to play to a little bit of a different window and a little bit of a different level. But I would argue for most players, you stick with the set wedge, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, here's an interesting thing. If you want to look at kind of like just some fitting data, it's not real data or anything, but just in terms of like recent memory for me, I have definitely fit more people into set gap wedges than, let's say, 46-degree pitching wedges, you know, or like a Vokey style pitching wedge. So this leads to another very interesting thing that kind of needs to be addressed here as well. Let's real quick talk about how many times I'm fitting guys in the T100s this year.
Yeah.
Versus if we're going to use the Titleist window like a T200 or a T350.
Yeah.
Not very many.
Yeah.
You know? So if I put something with stronger lofts in a player's hands, and then I try to sit there and put a standard traditional, let's say, wedge style 46 degree in their hands, that club doesn't blend very well with game improvement irons.
No.
You know? It's not unheard of. Definitely things that we've seen it happen and things that I've done in the past, but not very often am I seeing that. That's actually probably the rarest occurrence where I'm putting somebody into, let's say, a game improvement iron and then sticking let's say I'm going to stop them at a 9 iron and then put that pitching wedge in there. You know? So again, you have to take into account what your lofts on your actual clubs are. But I think at face value, this is how you got to look at it. Is the pitching wedge going to be a full shot club, or is the pitching wedge a club that you would like to try to manipulate a little bit? For most people, I would argue you probably should have just a standard pitching wedge, you know? Because, I mean, let's be honest, right? There's a reason that not everybody on tour even has this.
Yeah.
It does make it a little bit more complicated, but it also can lead to a higher level of creativity. But that's a pretty niche player, you know? So, for what it's worth, for me, set wedges, not a bad thing, right? In that pitching wedge, gap wedge window for players. You know, and if it's something that you're interested in, definitely come and try it, obviously, because you have to try the itch, if you will. But think about how it's really going to affect the scorecard. Think about what you're really going to be doing with it. And then for that potential benefit that it may have, right, here's a very real window you have to ask yourself, how often does that come up? Right? That's what I'm saying. If this, because we were talking about a shot today that's not a very common shot. 130 yards, let's say end to end, where you have to flight a pitching wedge low to get up there. That's a pretty good headwind. Yeah. Right? We're talking knocking 20, 30 yards off of a whole shot club. Yeah. That's a pretty good headwind. That doesn't happen very often. But if it does, again, there's something that you can do there. Just play what's best for you. That's really the best thing I could do. And be honest with yourself in terms of asking yourself these questions. But thanks for giving us the idea. If you guys have any other kind of questions or anything about this kind of thing, please let us know. Please like and subscribe. Please leave comments in the comment section. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.